Happy Come and Take It Day, and welcome back to the Sandlot Cast, the podcast about our uber competitive fantasy football league, where we, I guess, are going to come and take it because it's Come and Take It Day, whatever that means. With me this week, I've got Hillers and Anthony. I am Merrill, and we are going to go with our new format this week. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Pretty sure I'm going to come and leave that intro there. That sounds somewhere on the spectrum between criminal and creepy. Come and take it,
Hey,
day.
man, I don't make up the holidays, okay? This is according to
bizarreholidays.com.
So am I going to have to look this up? You've never asked me to look up a holiday before.
I'm pretty sure that's what Tyrod Taylor whispered in my dreams last night. He said, "Hey, I'm sitting on the waivers, Anthony. Come and take it." So I woke up this morning, $6 later, starting quarterback, baby.
Was he looking back over his shoulder at you when he said it?
Yeah, it's Tyrod time. It's Tyrod time. Don't get wrapped around the axle because it's Tyrod time.
According to HolidayInsights.com, today is Come and Take It Day. This day is here for the taking. Grab it, take it, and run with it. We're sure it's going to be a great day.
Oh, should we run with it like Wendell Smallwood is going to run away with the Philadelphia running game?
The origin, the town of
shoplifters everywhere say it's Come and Take It.
The town of Gonzales, Texas, holds a Come and Take It festival each year. It commemorates the firing of the first shot of the Texas Revolution on October 2nd, 1835, which took place near Gonzales. People also believe that this day originated from a movie of the same name in 2001. We believe this is coincidental.
Sure, the famous movie, Come and Take It, that we all remember.
Yeah, you forgot about that one. So, there you go.
I think a generation forgot about that one.
So anyway, we did our new format last week, Killers. Anthony, what'd you think of the new format, man?
I liked it. The brevity was there. I think you hit a lot of the points. And, in these middle weeks in the podcast, we end up saying kind of the same stuff about every team anyway.
Yeah.
So I think we could just hit the deltas and move on with our lives.
Heck, I mean, we've even stopped going over Nick's team. We just loop from last year. We just put in a recording of what we said last year about Nick's team, and it applies this year too. It's crazy. So,
Come and Take It uses Texas history to tell a story of friendship, envy, betrayal, and greed.
There you go.
Starring superstars like Jesse Borrego, Mirna Cabello, Jesse DeLuna. The guy on the movie poster kind of looks like if Abed from Community aged like 30 years and got all strung out and then picked up a machete. Kind of looks like.
I've been watching a lot of Community lately. Actually, I've been going through it again. It's really good.
Take a look at this poster and tell me if I didn't nail that one.
Hey, Mike, forget what I said about the whole brevity thing. It's out the window already.
Fair enough. Hey, when it's Come and Take It Day, we celebrate Come and Take It Day.
You're not down with the whole brevity thing.
We need to come and take our brevity. All right, let's go through our mini games first. We didn't do that last week because we didn't have our mini game liaison to tell us how things are going. So take it away, liaison.
Concierge.
Okay, so here I go. So I'm going to start with week 3, go with week 4, and then I give you the season longers. So week 3 was the highest scoring defense. That goes to Mike Merrill, Minnesota defense. Put a shellacking of 29 points down, so he wins that $10. Week 4 is the ever controversial lowest scoring team. And usually that's the week that Evan wins it.
Somehow.
And still goes 2-0 somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, but this week it went to the duplex of mediocrity, 72.3 woeful points. Dave banks $10. Hey, I guess if you're going to lose a week, it might as well be that one.
All right.
I guess.
This winning money.
This upcoming week is the biggest loss. So the loser of the biggest point spread will get the $10. So, for example, when Hillers beats me by 100 points this week, I probably will bank $10.
Come and take it,
Anthony. And you can't throw it. Shenanigans rules in effect. If you throw it like starting a legal lineup, it does not count. Goes to the second next guy. Okay,
the
regular
SFFL's
season minigame.
Celebrating losers every week and giving them money.
Right. Don't pretend to be more of a loser than you are. We'll know.
So I'm going to just give you the changes on the season-long mini-games. So this week, Julio Jones took the highest scoring single-week wide receiver at 36 points. That's Evan. And then,
that might be the winner. That's really high.
Yeah, and then the highest scoring single-week tight end now is Jordan Reed, 19.3 points, and Hillers is the owner of that.
Booyakasha.
We still have a. You know what? I might as well do week 3 because I didn't talk about that. We have a 3-way tie for highest scoring single week kicker in weeks 1, 2, and 3. Andy, Brett, and Hillers own a 17-point kicker.
Kicker off.
$3.33. I'm gonna come and take it.
Yep, and then week 3 for the highest scoring single week defense, Merrill's defense, the Minnesota Vikings took that one as well for the time being.
I should really pay more attention to defense.
You should.
And that should do it for mini games.
It's the only thing gonna win you any money this season.
Fair enough. Okay, well, that said, let's get into our power rankings here. We're not going to go through divisions or do team overviews. We're just going to kind of run through our power rankings from 12 to 1. And we're actually going to do our consensus power rankings. So we created one of them crazy Google spreadsheets where you can put in 3 different numbers and average them out. And we did that because we're pretty smart here at Sandlot Cast. So.
Mysteries of math.
Yeah, so these are our consensus ranks. These aren't necessarily where I had people ranked, of course, or where Hillers or Anthony had people ranked. This is just where they averaged out. Few surprises here, but we'll start at 12, and that is going to be peanut butter jelly time. Brett has found himself all the way near the bottom. I will say that I had Brett at 9, but he is
living in it.
Down at 12 here. So let's start with I don't know. Did you guys have any reasons why you had Brett there, or I'm sure you did. But what were your reasons?
I'll start, and really it's between Brett and Nick's team. And Brett's team, Palmer's out, Sammy Watkins is done for the year, and those were the 2 guys that probably kept. Those were solid guys that Brett's team, kind of relied on, and now they're gone. And now Marvin Jones looks questionable. Josh Doxson is not exploding yet. Alshon Jeffrey's questionable. It's just the injuries took it from the bottom quarter to the last.
Yeah, we have 7 teams that are at 2 and 4. By the way, how crazy is that? So,
pretty crazy.
Sorry, there are 4 teams with winning records. What a disaster of a league. Sorry. All right. Yeah, you're right. The injuries. I think the injuries knocked him down. Hiller's probably the same for you, right? I mean, just.
Yeah, well, and not just the ones that he's already sustained, but like to look at his roster is just a litany of Qs up there, and there's just too few props holding up a studs and scrubs kind of team. That you don't need too many studs to underperform or go down before things start looking pretty bleak.
Yeah, I have Brett with the worst quarterback situation, 9th in running back, 5th in wide receiver, and 7th in tight end. So nothing really great to prop him up there, like you said. So
I'm going to question that 5th in wide receiver. I mean, I think a guy like Alshon Jeffrey looks good on paper. I mean, I've been since week 2 been saying, Brett, you got to get rid of this guy. Get what you can before it gets worse. If God forbid he goes on IR, he's going to be worth nothing as a $15 keeper. Dump him now and try to at least grab a keeper for next year that's better than Alshon Jeffrey.
What kind of keeper do you think you're going to get for Alshon Jeffrey by himself right now, though? And I think that boat may already have sailed.
Yeah.
It's a good point. I think you hold on too long and people they start to understand what a busto Alshon Jeffrey is. I don't know the answer to the question, Hillers, but at this point, maybe the cat is out of the bag already.
Maybe. Let's move along here. Let's move up to number 11. Iron Pirates Miscreant Crew is our next team by our consensus ranks here. It looks like, as far as rankings, Hillers had him at 11. I had him at 8, actually, and Anthony had him at 11. So,
the week before, you were questioning if he would win a game all season, then you moved him up to 8.
Well, believe it or not, Hillers, things change from week to week in fantasy football.
Yeah, that's a knee-jerk reaction from a high-scoring week.
Reactionary.
Maybe, but some of it is believing in Matt Ryan, who is the number 1 quarterback in fantasy. Maybe that offense is actually going to keep doing what it's been doing. Some of it is the fact that let's see, where did I rank his stuff here? I had Nick with the 6th best quarterback, the 11th running back situation, 7th in wide receiver, and 5th in tight end. So I'm also kind of buying into Travis Kelce as well, who's also been.
Who is 12th at running back? Out of curiosity, if this is 11th.
Brett. Oh no, you are. Hillers.
Still?
Yes.
Jordan Howard, Terrence West, Darren Sproles, none of those guys?
Terrence West may be losing his job this week, so yeah.
Well, he could have lost his job anyway.
A running back core anchored by Jordan Howard, yes, will be 12th in my rankings.
So where does the Funchess factor? Where's the Funchess factor in this whole thing? Is it helping or hurting?
The bunches of Funches. It's it both helps and hurts. So,
well, it helps the humor factor of the podcast.
It helps us laugh at him.
Yeah.
For sure.
I know for a fact. Well, yeah, it's a fact. He's just hanging on to him. So if he has one good week, everyone in the league is going to get a text message about how wrong we were about Devin Funchess.
Yeah.
I'm sure you should start him in anticipation of that week, Nick. You should put Funchess in there. His time is coming.
It's bound to pan out.
Part of the other thing is I think James White's going to get a lot better now that Brady's back. I think the LeGarrette Blount experience is going to come to an end. I mean, I think that we're going to become more of a passing team now, and that's where James White comes in, whereas LeGarrette Blount's the guy that comes in when they want to run the ball a lot. So I think that helps his running back core as well. But the other reason he jumped up is because Matt Ryan. I mean, you have to rank him up there right now. Matt Ryan is going nuts every week. It's pretty crazy.
You just said he has the sixth best quarterback situation, and yet you're touting Matt Ryan.
I had him at 12 last week. So, yeah. That's why
Matt Ryan's schedule is about to get a lot harder.
That's what they said last week before he played Carolina and put up like 500 yards.
Okay.
So, Hillers, anything on Nick's team, or we're good to move on?
Is there anything on Nick's team? No.
Okay.
I just want to say that I'm looking down the roster, and I think that there are 4 droppable people. Straight up droppable, and you won't even flinch.
Well, yeah, there might, yeah, very well could be.
You're not worried Tyler Boyd is going to get snatched up off the waivers?
He loves the Bengals.
I think if you put him on the waivers, no one can even find him again. He'd be buried so deep.
You'd have to scroll down off the first page of highest scoring players to date to find him.
At number
10. I guarantee
10.
his picture, like one of the little silhouettes with a question mark on it. Oh no, he actually has a picture in here. Interesting. Okay, sorry.
Of course, it's a picture.
That's a bad measure of success.
At number 10, we have the duplex of mediocrity. You guys, I will say, you guys were a lot higher on this team coming into the season than I was. Looks like I might have been right, but I'll let you guys kind of take it away. Hillers, you've always been a duplex believer here.
Yeah, I'm a believer in a guy that has 3 championships. Crazy, I know.
Yeah, you ranked him at number 8 this week.
Yeah, well, he's fallen on some hard times here. You know, Lacey, despite looking good, didn't quite pan out like he liked. Although maybe Matt Jones is a little bit resurgent here. I mean, I think there's still plenty to like about his wide receiver situation. All of those guys are kind of in the same place right now, but I feel like by the end of the season, you could see guys really blowing up. You know, Sterling Shepard, Eli Rogers. You know, maybe we haven't even seen the ceiling on Travis Benjamin here. I feel like these are guys that it's all reason to be hopeful for. And so, yeah, the running back situation is a little poor, but he's still, I think, anchored by 2 very solid quarterbacks where you can almost play the matchups. So, you know, it's not that I'm calling the season done for this team by any means, but with everybody kind of in that 30, 40-point range for the season, it kind of makes it tough for them to have a standout game and put up a high amount of points. He needs a couple of these guys to start breaking away from the pack here. But a lot of opportunity to do that. So,
Anthony, anything you want to say about Dave's team?
I mostly disagree with everything Hiller said. Eddie Lacy is having a fine season. He's played Minnesota once and he had a bye, so that's why his points look a little low compared to the other guys. Matt Jones and Latavius Murray, between the 2, you can find a serviceable RB2. And then his receiving core is very good. Amari Cooper, Jordan Matthews, Terrell Pryor was a good waiver pickup. And he's got 3 startable wide receivers that all look good, not just on paper, but they look good. And Cameron Brate, I really believe in. I drafted Cameron Brate. He just
got him today. So, yeah.
I know.
So why so low in the power rankings, then? Is that me just reacting to tough times?
Because the last 3 weeks he's been in the 70s. 70, 78, 74, I think. Like he's not putting up points.
I don't know why his team is not putting up the points.
Because
but,
it's bad.
You know, I had him personally. I had him number 7 in the power rankings, but because his team has got a jumpstart. All these names are great, except for Andrew Luck. I think that Derek Carr is your starting QB, regardless of the matchup.
Slow down. You said all these names are great. Is great really the word, or is pretty good the word? The words.
Above average.
See, that's not good enough.
It's always been good enough for Dave's teams. Dave's team has never had
that's true.
Great name. They've never had elite names up and down the roster.
No, they have before. Back in the LaDainian Tomlinson, Carson Palmer, Antonio Gates days.
2 years after he'd win a championship with him, you'd say, "Oh, what elite teams!" You know. But I don't think we've ever looked at Dave's team and been like, "Look at all the superstars."
Yeah, that's not true
except for the Tomlinson era. Okay, except for LaDainian Tomlinson, where he practically named his team LaDainian and the Tomlinsons. You know, it's still not like a Stars and Scrubs. It was Star and Scrubs, but he still managed to get it up there. So
I think that we're going to see Dave's team pick it up. The only thing he's really got going against him is that he's in a division with Evan, and he's already at the bottom of it. So he's got to always work his way up through Assassin. So I think he's probably going to be fighting for a wild card, and that's why it's real tough.
I think Evan's going to clinch in like week 8. He's going to clinch a playoff spot. It's ridiculous. But all right. At number 9, consensus ranks had Hillers. Hillers moving up in the world. We had you at
scooting on up.
You at 10 or 11 pretty much every week. All of us
rolling up the corporate ramp.
Anthony, let's see. Where did you have Hillers? You had him at.
I had him at 8.
You had him at 8. So,
I had him at 8.
But you moved him up from 11 to 8. What has changed on Hiller's team?
He has Tom Brady back, and he'll probably move him. But for the moment, Tom Brady's a pretty good quarterback. We think
I've heard of him.
He's bumped his way in the dark to a starting running back in Jordan Howard and Terrence West.
Yeah.
So those guys are not world beaters, but they're going to get you enough points. And then T.Y. Hilton, Stephon Diggs. I don't know who your flex guy is on this team, but with Jordan Reed there as your best tight end, and probably the best tight end in the league right now. His team is at least startable top to bottom, right? Like you can feel good starting mostly everyone. It's just not, it's better than the median, right? So therefore, number 8, number 9, I'm cool with that.
Well, number 8 isn't better than the median though.
Well, the median would be like 6 or
well, I'll
7,
tell you this:
right?
Power rankings can be what they are, but you're definitely higher than me on the power rankings. But I think I'm going to beat you this week.
Sorry, I meant to say we're just under the median.
Okay,
just
gotcha.
under the median. That's what I
see what
you
mean. Okay, above like that.
I meant on the right side, which is not better; it's worse. But
right. So I have Hillers at QB. He's all of a sudden up at number 4, whereas he was much lower. Despite Carson Wentz's success, I wasn't quite buying yet. But
I hear he's Peyton Manning before the snap and Aaron Rodgers after the snap.
Yeah, I hear that too. But I have him at 12 at running back and 12 at wide receiver. I mean, his receivers are okay, but you look at him, it's just a lot of wide receiver 2 and flexes. It's not like he's got a lot of blow-up potential there. So, and then I have you at number 2 in tight end Hillers. I think Jordan Reed's probably the second best tight end right now behind Gronk. So, and I know Gronk hasn't done much, but I think he might break out this week with Brady coming back. So,
how basically, can you say, I mean, that's just that's all hype. It's just a Gronk name.
Yeah, you're right. What's he ever done? But
I mean, he's hurt. He's been perpetually hurt all year, and he has 1 point. How can you say he's the number 1 tight end?
Because the last few years he's been the best tight end in the league, and he hasn't had his quarterback yet, which he does now.
He saved the life of the previous
touchdown,
best
Larry
tight end.
Fitzgerald. So there you go, Hillers.
Really? Sweet.
It's like saying Marshawn Lynch is better than freaking Dwayne Washington this year.
I think he would be if he played. I think he would be better than Dwayne Washington.
Yeah, but that's the point.
No, it's not, because Marshawn Lynch is retired. He doesn't actually play. Gronk plays, and Gronk's been hurt, but Gronk's been getting healthier.
Not so
week.
far, he hasn't played.
Saying that Gronk is the number 1 tight end in the league is
all right. We'll see.
Is what a crazy person would say.
We'll see who does better from here on out for the rest of the year. But Hillers, basically what I'm looking to say is your quarterback and tight end have carried you up to number 8 in the power rankings. So
I'm going to scrap my way to ruining someone's hopes of playoffs this year.
All right.
That's my new goal.
We'll leave your input there then. Number 8, we've got Ween Ye. Ween Ye last week. Where did we have them, boys? Last week we had Ween Ye at right around number 6-ish, right around the middle. So they're slowly sliding down. We had him at 2, 5, 6, 6.5, and then 8. So he's sliding down.
Not a great trajectory thus far.
Every week here, Hillers. We'll go to yours here to see where you had him. You had him at 1, 4, 6, 8, and now 10. So what
a precipitous drop for the Masters of Elegance.
You want to explain what your thinking is here on why you're dropping him so much?
Yeah, results. They're not happening. They have not accrued. The guys looked very good preseason, and a couple of these guys really still do look good. There's certainly nothing wrong with Evans or Nelson or even his number one receiver, Michael Crabtree. Which is very surprising. So you'd think we'd be a little bit higher on this guy, especially with Gronk coming back. The number one tight end in the league with 1.1 points. But it hasn't come together. Russell Wilson had been hurt or he had a bad game. He's starting Brian Hoyer this week. You see guys like Curtis Payne in the lineup. I know there's a major bye week situation going on, with the Chiefs right now, but I can't highly rate a guy who keeps losing and keeps not putting up points. Keenan Allen went down, and I'm starting to wonder if maybe the injuries and problems in his running back core are going to bring this team down.
Anthony, right now, Andy sends you a trade, Rob Gronkowski for Delaney Walker. Do you accept it?
It's a good question.
Why? Gronk stinks. He's only got 1.1 points.
I just don't think he's the number one tight end.
Okay.
You can both be right. Okay, he's more value than a 1.1 tight end, but he hasn't proven that he's the tight end that he was 2 years ago either. So,
I mean, if I had Jordan Reed, I would not do that.
I wouldn't accept.
I would.
A $25 Rob Gronkowski.
Now is the time to buy on Gronk.
I don't even know if he's selling, but if he offered me Gronk for Reed straight up, I would reject that trade.
I mean, geez,
so would I.
Gronk's point selection 27, 17, 10, 6, 11, 16, 17, 4, 17, 3, 14, 14, 11. Yeah, dude's a beast.
He was last year.
Time makes fools of us all.
And he hasn't had his quarterback. But, okay, well, time will tell on how good Rob Gronkowski is at football the rest of the season. We'll see how that goes. All right, anything you want to say on Andy's team, Anthony?
I do. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
I thought you'd never ask.
Well, hey, that's why I'm the hostess with the mostest.
I had Andy at number 1 preseason rankings, and now I have him at 10 today's rankings. So he has fallen a lot, and if it's not injuries, it's underperformances. He's had a lot of buys that have hurt his he had the early buy for Jordy Nelson, which I think hurt him, and now this week 5 buy is almost going to guarantee him a loss to an in-division opponent, right? So, it's not that I don't like. I think his team is average or slightly below average, but I just don't see him winning even a wild card at this point because he's got Dad Dix and a lot of ground to make up on me. I'm not sold on my team, but I'm pretty significantly ahead of him, especially if he loses this week. So I don't know what I would do right now if I were Andy. I think you may pull a Hillers and start blowing some stuff up.
Yeah. I actually had Andy pretty high. I had him at number 4 in my power rankings. Now, I know that seems weird, but one of the things that happened is if he, for some reason, I mean, you mentioned the injuries and underperformance, but also a little bit of mismanagement in that he didn't start Russell Wilson. Instead, he started Trevor Siemian this week. And, of course, Siemian went down with an injury, and if he would have started Wilson, he'd have gotten 2 wins instead, and that would have put him at 4-2
He also
instead
didn't.
of 2-4.
He also didn't start a defense.
And he didn't start a defense. So I still think the team's good. I just think it's weird. Like, something seems to go wrong every week for them. It's still not a team I want to play by any means. But he's just made some mistakes that have really cost him. And the Keenan Allen thing's really hurt him too. But I still think this is a good team. He's a team I don't think anybody wants to play coming down the stretch because I think it can put up a lot of points. But I know you guys seem to be a lot lower on him than
Well,
than
no,
I am.
I mean, I would agree that this is a team that, like me, will probably screw up someone else's chances at the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I have him as the best. I think he has the best wide receiving core in the league, and the best, like I said, the best tight end. So those are matchups that he wins every week. Now his running backs are a little dicey, and Russell Wilson hasn't been great, though he did show signs of life last week.
Including when you include the double headers, which so he has the lowest average point fourth in the league.
He's 0-4 in the doubleheaders, I think. Those are his losses, but he's 2-0 in the other weeks. So
he has the lowest points for and the lowest average points for in the league.
right, but that's because he's put up bad points on doubleheader weeks, which.
Well, he put up 98.5 on week 1, and week 4 was 74.2. So if you average 86, he's basically.
That's
so the average of those
standard.
is 86, and his week 2 and his week 3 were lower than 86. So I mean, he's averaging in the 80s.
Hey,
Even
85,
when you
85 got you 2 wins this week, though, dude. So,
Jesus, so lashing out.
Yeah, never underestimate how sour those grapes get over there.
They are.
They'll pucker your face.
But I'm just saying.
Weren't we saying, Merrill, like when you were swinging your D around in week 1 about how good your team was? Just wait until your team starts underperforming, and we would have no sympathy for you. Well, this is one of those times.
I'm not asking for your sympathy.
I love cocky early season Merrill when he's all full of hope and confidence. But because once you turn to bitter, mopey late season Merrill, you just never go back. It's just nonstop whining.
Well, that's not true.
I would feel for you if you weren't if week 1 you were bragging so bad about it. God, the things that you were saying.
No. It's because
Shameful.
every week you say, "Oh, I'm so unlucky. Oh, I hate
I didn't
fantasy.
say that. I got lucky
I'm
this week.
constantly getting crapped on.
I do hate fantasy.
And you score 85 points and go 2-0. And there are other teams that scored more than you and went 0-2. So I just want to point out that this week maybe things kind of went right for you this week.
I haven't complained once, and you're
Why would you
unfairly
complain?
lashing
You went
out.
2-0. Why would you complain?
I have to listen to both of you. I'm the unluckiest one here.
So anyway, I don't know why I even brought it up. I think maybe because I was going to say how it's easy.
Sour grapes.
Yeah, it's the sour grapes, man.
At this point, it's
So-
early in the
Keep it
season,
so.
and I don't want to rate teams too much on results. I know it's a part of it, of course, but I don't want to rate it too much on the small sample size we've had so far this year.
Yeah, that's your Gronk analysis as well.
You're right. We have.
I don't want to rate anything about how Gronk plays football because he hasn't played at all. I'm just gonna, he's really tall and he parties a lot, so he's the number 1 guy.
I wish partying made you good at football.
Yes.
I would be an awesome football player.
You have nailed my analysis.
I would have gotten a scholarship, and I would be highly ranked in the draft.
We should completely discount the last 5 or 6 years of Rob Gronkowski with Tom Brady as his quarterback, and only analyze him in the first 4 weeks of this season when he had 2 people we've never heard of as his quarterback. That's how we should analyze Rob Gronkowski.
I'm for that.
Okay.
Second.
All right, let's move on from Winier here up to EBS. Wow, how about that? Segue, as it's spelled. EBS at number 7.
Not spelled out.
That's exactly how it's spelled.
No, I don't know what you pronounced.
In our consensus, we've kind of had EBS around here all year. Hillers, you have him at 4, actually. Anthony, actually, I have EBS at 7, and Anthony, you have yourself at 9. So
Yeah. I think that 4 is quite inflated, and it might be because of
Yeah.
my record.
I feel like, I kind of ran out of numbers when I was giving everybody else a number, and 4 was the slot left, and you did have a 5-1 record. So I guess you got it for that. But honestly, I don't
that's
think
enough
that
analysis
this
out of him for this team, I'll
is,
say.
this team is really a 4 team. It's Antonio Brown and friends.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for that expert analysis, Hillers. We appreciate your ever ongoing persistence
Ran out of
in your power
numbers.
rankings and deep analysis that you give us. Anthony, I'll say I have you with the 11th quarterback situation in the league right now.
Does that include Tyrod Taylor?
Actually, it does not. So I don't know that it changes.
Yeah,
but
That's right.
But it
Doesn't
did not.
include that guy from the waivers he just got.
I have you at 7 in running back, number 2 in wide receivers, and 6 in tight end. So,
Two wide receivers because
Antonio Brown.
by himself. I mean, Baldwin's good, but not way better than other wide receivers.
Don't forget about Edelman. If you love Gronk, then Edelman's going to.
I did forget about Edelman.
That's why I have you at 2, because of Edelman, Baldwin, and Antonio Brown. That is a good wide receiving core.
And Michael Thomas, I'm just going to say Michael Thomas is getting a lot of looks there. And I know
but you're
maybe
not going to be playing him. I mean,
I will on a bye week.
Well, yeah, but that's
all right.
And you're not at number 2 because of Michael Thomas. I'll say that.
You have the most bye weeks the week he has his bye week.
So you guys about my team last week said that it was boom or bust, and I think I agree with that because it really is dependent on whether it's basically 2 things. Does Antonio Brown do well, and does my quarterback put up 35 points? Because when that happens, you tend to win, right? When it doesn't happen in this league, you lose. Nothing else seems to matter. And I have been blessed with some good defensive performance. So I'm trying to make some strides to get a little bit more stability in my team. Tyrod Taylor, I think, gives me that at quarterback. And I think that the second half of this year, I'll start to see my running backs get better. I really think Kenneth Dixon's going to take that job. I really think Wendell Smallwood is going to take the job in Philly.
There's a lot of upside in your running backs. There's a lot of upside for sure.
Yeah, but if it doesn't pan out, I'm in a heap of trouble.
Yeah, but hey man, you gotta. I mean, what did you have otherwise if you didn't have those guys? So you still got Hill and Ivory, who are guys.
And maybe I'll get Abdullah back, and that might be a nice little playoff boost. Who knows?
Right. Okay. At number 6, we have the Choops. The Choops have been, I think, slowly climbing in our rankings. They've been hovering around 7 to 9, and now we've got them moved up to 6 in our rankings. Hillers, you have moved them 11, 10, 9, 7, 5. I've had them pretty much between 8 and 11. Anthony, you've got them all the way at 4 this week. So why don't we start with you this week, man? What are you loving so much about these Choops?
Well, so I've had the Choops high in the past really 3 weeks. I've had them at 6, 5, and 4. Yeah. And to me, I like so first of all, they're the 4th highest scoring team when you include the bye weeks. But the interesting part about this team is that the double headers actually take away from that. So his average points 4th compared to the rest of the league, not including the bye weeks, is higher than what it shows on the website. His dudes are good. I think his only weakness right now is probably quarterback with Bortles and Rivers, but he's got a lot of depth in running back. He's got a lot of depth.
Not in week 11, he doesn't.
Not in week 11, but you know what? A single header week.
That's a long time away.
You can lose a week. You can lose week 11.
He's gonna.
he probably will. But he's got a lot of depth in running back. You guys were panicking about Devonta Freeman. I was not. I think that's good. And and when Devonta Freeman is performing, and you got Tevin Coleman basically his handcuff perform, you can start them both. Eff it. What the hell?
Yeah, but hang on. You're also the guy who just said, and I know I'm the guy who said Matt Ryan is a beast and might be legit. But you're also the guy who said the schedule's going to get a lot more difficult here coming up. So
that's true.
Maybe that affects these guys.
Well, and also it seems to be between those two, one of them does well. So if you start them both, one of them will do well, right? And the other one is going to be a wasted roster spot.
Freeman's done pretty well just about every week.
Freeman had, I think, two bad weeks. Let me look at it. Yeah, 4 and 9.3, not optimal.
9.3
but
is fine out of a running back.
Fine.
Yeah.
Right. So and he's got 3 really, really solid receivers, borderline elite receiver in Jarvis Landry, who is basically doing what he always does, which is put up insane amount of reception. I mean, this guy would be if this league were PPR, you guys would be talking about how good Jarvis Landry.
I understand,
but it's not. I understand that it's not. But even without PPR, he has a ton. Jarvis Landry has a ton of yards. As soon as the Dolphins figure out how to throw touchdowns, you're going to see Jarvis Landry. Well, if they do. I've been watching the Dolphins being here in Florida, and I don't know if they will ever figure that out. But dude is a good receiver.
He is. I agree.
Is $70 the most anyone has ever paid for a New York Jets running back committee? before?
Yes. I don't know. Was Sammy Morris ever on the Jets?
Or was he on the Jets?
Well, that's really a product of the last guy in the draft. I mean, that's equivalent to didn't a kicker go for like $25 last year or something like that?
But honestly, that's looking like it might pan out because in the last game, Bilal Powell only had 3 less touches than Matt Forte. It looks like they're really starting to turn that into a timeshare. It looked like Forte was getting the vast majority of those carries in the first 2 weeks, and it's really kind of calmed down since then. So
they might be trying to keep his touches on a pace,
right?
So I don't know that this is going to sound hypocritical because I just said you can start both Kevin Coleman and Devonta Freeman, but I don't know that I'd be comfortable starting. I mean, I think that the timeshare in this case is bad because
I agree. I mean, I'd still go Forte.
Because which one do you start?
Forte, I think at this point, but it's there's a shift, it's shifting kind of. It's in the middle of a change right now, and that's just something to keep an eye on. I still think if Forte's the guy, and I don't think you want to start Powell right now, but it's something to keep an eye on.
And also what I'll say is if you think, which I do, the Atlanta schedule looks rough, the Jets schedule looks even worse. Oh,
it's ridiculous. Yeah. So I have the Choops. I have them at 10th in quarterback, 5th in running back, 9th in receiver, and 11th in tight end. So
9th in receiver.
Yeah.
With Landry Robinson and Thomas in there, Vincent, all of those guys are pretty good.
Yeah, but there's some good receiving cores out there, man. I mean,
yeah, but some of them have
Thomas is hurt. When I did this yesterday, and Thomas was out. I think he didn't practice yesterday, so that was part of it. And Landry, while he's good, he's not getting the touchdowns. And even Allen Robinson, these are real talented guys. I agree, but I don't know, for some reason they're not getting the touchdowns.
The potential for touchdowns is there, though. It's like they can be a bit fluky. You can be on a touchdown drought, and it doesn't mean you're performing badly or that you won't get touchdowns in a future week.
True.
See John Kuhn.
But Jarvis Landry has never really been a touchdown guy. He's more of like
American hero John Kuhn. Landry
is like an Edelman. He's a possession guy. He's a PPR guy. He's not really a red zone guy. And that's kind of always been his thing. I mean, he's still good. Don't get me wrong, but he's not a touchdown guy. Assassins are who we have here in 5th. We have Assassins. I feel like they've been in 5th pretty much every week for us. They've been kind of hovering between 4 and 7 for us, so not a whole lot's changing here. Assassins are one of the many teams at 2 and 4. Hillers, we'll start with you here. You've had them. Where did you have them? I can't find you anymore. You had them at 7. You had them 10, 8, 5, 9, 7. You've had them all over the place. It's like you can't get a read on this team.
That's fairly accurate, and I think that's indicative when you have sort of a, it's not totally stars and scrubs, but it kind of is. If this team was missing Melvin Gordon, we would think this is one of the worst teams. I think.
Whoa, slow down. Wait. What kind of analysis is that? If you take this team's best player away, they'd be bad.
Well, yeah, but if you took some team's best player away, they could still function, and we'd still say that's still a good team. And I don't necessarily think that this is something wrong.
He's still got Gurley and Doug Martin. I mean,
yeah, but Gurley is not who we thought he was yet. He might turn into that guy, but I don't think anybody was thinking, $40 hype machine Ted Gurley was going to have one game over 10 points through 4 weeks, and it was a big one, but it's just one.
Yeah, but you were just talking up Jarvis Landry, and Jarvis Landry has 4 more points than Todd Gurley.
No, I just said, because he's getting the ball a lot, he has potential to maybe score. That's different from a guy like Todd Gurley. No one was saying Jarvis Landry is going to be a top 5 receiver this season, and you need to have him on your team. But people were saying that about Todd Gurley, and I think it was a guy he was expecting to sort of hold this franchise down. And Larry Fitzgerald is good. Brandon Cooks is good, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I feel like this team is going to collapse, and I'm waiting for the week. And this is where the mood sort of turned dark on them. And like you said, they're one of many teams at 2 and 4. If this team was doing like Brad expected them to do, they'd be close to winning a division right now. And so that underperformance is concerning.
Anthony?
Yeah. I had him, I think, at 5. the stats right. No, I had him at 6 this week. But 5 is not bad. I just don't think he's not putting enough points to warrant that for much longer. But then I look at his team on the other hand, and I see, man, like I would probably trade most of my for QB slot, RB slot, wide receiver slot. Like it looks really good.
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon, I think, is one of the biggest surprises to me, and at $21, I think that's a keeper for
sure
for years to come. I'm not sure if this has inflated Melvin Gordon or not. Like I look at his stats and I look at his yards. So his yards are 57, 102, 35, and 36. That's like not a lot of yards per carry. But then I look at his receiving, and it's, he's making the most out of the 7 targets he's gotten in the last 2 games.
Right. Yeah.
He's also gotten a lot of touchdowns. I can't judge Melvin Gordon. I remember in the beginning of the year last year, he like jumped over a guy, and he looked really, really dynamic. I haven't watched enough San Diego games this year to see how he looks.
I mean, he's had 75 yards or more pretty much on all his games. 70 yards or more in all of his games.
But I normally don't believe in post-hype sleepers, but that's exactly what he is.
He's just getting the touchdowns this year that he didn't get last year. That's the difference.
Well, he was injured for the majority of last year. And so take the touchdowns away, and now all of a sudden he's really not good. But I can't tell if the touchdown trend is going to continue. So, like, obviously the touchdown trend is not going to continue. Your wide receivers, your running backs are not going to get touchdowns every week. But the trends that I don't know, like, is this yards per carry real for Melvin Gordon, and is the receiving real for Melvin Gordon? Because if it is, then maybe they balance out. But if one is, I just don't know which one's which. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how good this guy.
You're just not totally buying Melvin Gordon yet.
But his points look great, and I'd love him on my team.
Yeah,
I just don't know, like, is he elite? Like, is this guy going to be a first rounder next year? Is this guy that?
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know where to put him.
I mean, I think it's somewhere between this year and last year is where he'll end up. But
well, he was terrible last year, so that's
right. So the question is, how close to this year will he be than compared to last year?
Well, he only needs to be one spot lower than 5 to have that be not much. You know what I mean?
So, so I've got Watson. I had him at 5th in quarterback, 4th in running back, 3rd in wide receiver, and 9th in tight end. So, pretty good team. I think this team's legit. I mean, Hillers, you keep talking about depth, but I mean, he's just as deep as any other team in the league is, if you look at it. I mean, everybody's got gaps on their bench that they don't want to have to rely on. His stars.
I think it's more underperformance is my issue from guys that he needed to be real superstars.
Right, but
to be a team that's going to win.
I mean, I have to think Gurley's going to turn it around and start scoring a little more. I mean, I believe in Todd Gurley, so that's part of the reason I think this team is legit. I think he will bounce back. Doug Martin's going to be coming back soon, which is going to help his running back core a lot. So then you got 3 good running backs. Then, DeAndre Hopkins hasn't really done anything yet, and I like to think he'll bounce back. I don't know. I think this team bounces back.
Well, that's all I'm saying. That's all my thing is reflecting is you pick 3 guys. I'd like to think they'll do better. I think we're saying a very similar thing.
Yeah. I think they bounce back. So anyway, number 4, Black Widows.
Hold on, I'm going to add that I think inactivity is killing him. Like, he just picked up Eddie Royal, but he's only spent $3. He's made 1 transaction, and like, I just don't know why you keep guys like Charles Clay on the bench.
Well, he could have upgraded. He traded for Fitzgerald too. Remember?
But like, Cameron Brate's sitting out there, and you're going to roll with Gary Barnidge and Charles Clay, and then Josh Gordon.
I'd rather have Barnidge. I
mean, he just got arrested, didn't he? And
is he going to play football anymore? Is he ever again?
He needs to be dropped. He's in rehab for the rest of the season, basically.
There's still guys on the waivers today that you can pick up and
I agree. Yeah, sure.
Bolster your team, and same goes for Choops, who spent $0 so far this year.
In the last 2 years, I don't know if any player has been on and paid as much on fantasy rosters and played so little football as Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
Ever.
Number four, we have Black Widow. So in our consensus ranks, actually, Black Widows and Assassins were pretty much tied, also tied in the breakdown. So we had to go to points 4, and I'm beating him by like 8 points on the year. So it's like basically identical results this year from both teams. So for all intents and purposes, we're tied at 4 or 5 or whatever, however that works. But Widows, I guess in our consensus ranks, have kind of been around 5th, with a drop to 7th in week 3, and then 4th and 5th again. Hillers, you've kind of had me around there. Anthony, you've had me a little lower, but have moved me up recently. I guess the Aaron Rodgers pickup might have been part of that, but
It was.
so yeah, Anthony, why don't you run through your thinking on what's going on with my team? I guess.
Well, you got a gift from the heavens in Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you took a quarterback situation that was incredibly unstable with Matt Ryan, and you made it
Stafford.
not just stable. Sorry, Matt Stafford, but you made it not just stable but elite. So, good job or bad job, Hillers. I still
Thank
think
you for calling me the heavens. That's nice of you.
Yeah, that was a bonehead move that hurts the league.
Yeah,
I
I'm really
disagree.
hurting on quarterbacks.
I think it helps the league.
I like Ingram, Isaiah Crowell, Giovanni Bernard running game. We talked about Zach Zenner earlier. That's not the fill-in you were looking for.
He's my 5th running
Not the
back.
fill-in you were looking.
He's
Yeah,
my
but
RB5.
still, he
I'm
shouldn't
not too
be
worried
anyone-
about Zach Zenner.
He's not even
Neither
Detroit's
is
fifth
Zach
running
Zenner.
back. Like, I don't think he's 5th on Detroit's running back depth. I think he's like lower than that. So the fact, again, Zach Zenner's whole family is having a party right now that he's on a fantasy roster. It's incredible. But the notable thing on your team is how poorly your good-looking wide receiving crew is doing.
So attractive.
Odell Beckham is underperforming. Randall Cobb is
Garbage.
atrociously performing, and Brandon Marshall. I'm not sure if that's a function of the Jets or those that are covering Brandon Marshall since Decker is out or what, but he's been a little boomer bust this year, and the total points for your wide receiving core is pretty bad, which I think prevents you in my power rankings from moving you beyond like, what do I have you, 5? Yeah, I don't think you're going to go much higher than 5 if you don't get your wide receivers start performing.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of your success here, I think, is attributable to the defense that you so disdain. 73 points from the Vikings.
David Johnson just scored another touchdown, by the way.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Is ludicrous, and it's won you games, I think. And it's if I had told you, hey Mike, in week 4, your number 1 running back is going to be Isaiah Crowell, and your number 1 wide receiver is going to be Jamison Crowder, you would have had a crying jag. You know what I mean? Because that's not what you were looking for out of this team. And those guys have, kind of overperformed, if you can call 31 points on the year overperforming for Crowder. But I think we both expected more from these guys. And,
I think it's that
they're
the
not...
other guys underperformed. I think Crowder at 31 is about right. I honestly think that's
Yeah.
not what he is.
Okay. Well, then that's how bad. You got Odell Beckham losing to kicking nets. That's not what you wanted to see out of a guy that some people thought would be like a top 3 receiver this year.
Is he tradable, or is he an elite keeper?
Not to
forever?
Mike. Not to Mikey.
Everybody's
Tell you
tradable. Everybody's tradable. So,
For what price?
I mean, it's going to be a lot.
If I gave you Tom Brady for Odell Beckham right now, would you take it?
I've got Aaron Rodgers. Why would I take Tom Brady?
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. That's a bad example.
It's going to take
wish I had better
somebody's.
players.
It's going to take somebody else's kind of flagship player to get Odell Beckham from me. That's just
Jordan Howard
Yeah, but why would someone give you their flagship player
for a guy putting up 30.
way underperforming it? Like,
So if you look at Beckham's numbers last year, his catches and his yards last year, and his numbers last year, actually, his first 4 games, they're almost identical to this year.
Yeah, they're quite similar. Yeah.
And
Some guys are like that.
Nobody said he had a bad year last year. Last year he started out 4, 20, 13, 3. This year he started out
I don't remember as much crying though.
7, 8, 12, 2. So it averages out to pretty close to where they are. He just hadn't had the touchdowns, and we'll see.
Too many emotions.
Sure, whatever. They got to talk about something on ESPN. So
Because it's funny.
no. So as far as where I have my team ranking and stuff is QB. I have myself at 1 mainly because of the injury to Cam at QB. I think Rodgers is QB1 now in the league. I would have had Cam there, but We're not sure if he's going to play this week or not. RB 6, wide receiver 8, and tight end 8. So.
Yeah, I mean, if something good happens for this team, I'm comfortable putting you in that top 5 playoff area. And if something bad happens, then out you go. You're cusping.
Yeah.
There you go, tight end 8 because Zach Ertz and his 5 points on the season are
he played half a game, dude. What do you
exactly?
Want? How do you look at someone at 5 points on the season and say, "Oh, he's terrible," when he's only played like less than a full game? How does that? How does those numbers matter at all?
Who's ranked 9th in your tight end polls?
Oh my god! You have to look beyond the Watson.
Prepare to get ridiculed. It could be anybody.
I know. Watson, TDJ, Choops, and Duplex are below.
Okay. Whatever, man. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
Gary Barnidge has at least as much street cred as Zach Ertz from last year.
Zach Miller. And Gary Barnidge has
Zach Miller's... he's questionable. You're just sneaking him on your IR because you're cheating. I see what you're doing.
Yes,
he might play. He returned to practice.
He might play.
Just leave him there, though.
But 5.5 points out of a tight end isn't terrible, by the way.
It's terrible.
All right, number 3, we've got Touchdown Jesus at number 3. Touchdown Jesus has been hanging out in our top 2 or 3 pretty much all year. I actually had Touchdown Jesus at 6 this week. A lot of that has to do with the Cam Newton injury. And I have him at 2 in quarterback, 3 at running back, 10 at wide receiver, and 10 at tight end. I feel like those are areas where this team is kind of hurting right now.
10 at wide receiver?
Yeah.
With Mike Wallace and Kelvin Benjamin and...
Well, Kelvin Benjamin's hurt. Right?
Doesn't look hurt.
He's not hurt.
Oh, Dez is hurt. Sorry. So the Dez injury hurts. That's part of it. Mike Wallace.
Yeah, but he'll be back.
Mike Wallace had good first 2 weeks, and since then he hasn't done much.
And between Cruz and Hearns, I feel like either one of those guys could be more than they are right now, very easily.
Well, you could say that about any receiver that you particularly like. Hearns.
Well, according
Cruz is the number.
Let's look at last year. Those Allen Hearns had an excellent year last year.
Yeah, but it was all due to touchdowns, and that's due to regress to the mean a little bit. It was the touchdowns could not keep up. He can't sustain that touchdown rate, so that's why he's coming. He was a big regression.
Not on the Jaguars.
Victor Cruz is the number 3 wide receiver on his team. I love Victor Cruz. I'm a Giants fan, but he's got Kelvin Benjamin and who's his number 2? Mike Wallace.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Let's look around the league and see how many teams are better than that at wide receiver, and the answer is a lot. That's not that great.
You didn't have yourself higher than him, did you?
I did, yeah.
Okay, because both of those 2 guys that you mentioned have scored more than any of your receivers.
Okay, so are you telling me if I offer Brandon Marshall for Mike Wallace right now that he wouldn't take it? I offer Brandon Marshall for Allen Hearns. I offer Brandon Marshall for Victor Cruz. He wouldn't take it?
For Victor Cruz, he probably should take that.
You don't think he'd take it? You don't think he'd take it for the other guys?
Pretty questionable.
Okay.
I definitely wouldn't take it for Kelvin Benjamin, and I don't see any reason to think that Mike Wallace is a bad bet this season.
Okay, we're done here. Anthony, anything you want to say on Pritchard's team?
No, I really liked his team all year.
It's a good team.
The injuries do bump it down a notch or 2, so I have him at 3, and that's really only because of injuries. His running core, I really like. I regret not going up to 45 on Carlos Hyde. Yeah, I hear you about his wide receiving core. Dez will come back, and it will get better again. Yeah, maybe he can go find a steal, a steal on the waivers, I guess. I don't know.
Go buy a defense, man. For Christ's sake.
I think he just picked up Green Bay to face the Giants, which is not all that
bad. Okay.
I think that's what happened. I don't remember.
I would hope so. I would hate to see a team like that have a 17-point defense.
But against the Giants, it's not the worst play.
Hillers, you don't honestly think Allen Hearns is on the same level as Brandon Marshall, do you? As far as
No.
Okay.
But you picked his third guy. If I'm going to pick your third guy, who is it? Cobb?
Crowder.
14 points? Crowder? Your number one?
See,
is that the
so you have to see, Hillers, with analysis, you have to look beyond just what their total points are on the year. Because
if you do that too much, though, you get stuck in this world of yesteryear that it's going to lose you games.
But
you know what? You got to react to the situation on the ground too.
On my receivers, the difference between 31.6 and 30.3 points. That's 13 yards on the year. And you're saying one receiver is way better than the other because he's got 13 more yards on the year? Are you serious?
So when Dez comes back, Allen Hurns is going to be his number 4, and I would definitely take Allen Hurns over Jamison Crowder.
But I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not giving power rankings on when this team is healthy. I'm giving power rankings on how this team is right now. And right now, Dez is not healthy.
Even now, Allen Hurns is their number 3. I'd take him over Jamison Crowder. Yes.
All right. We disagree on that. But okay. But how about the top 2 though?
From.
Who are his top? Who are his top 2?
Benjamin and Wallace.
What has Mike Wallace done in the last 5 years? Honestly,
different situation. Every year there's a little bit different stuff going on. And I think they've realized that and he's on a new team. There's nothing to say that he couldn't have been a number 1 wide receiver on any number of teams in this league. He's in a new situation. The results will be different.
Okay. So you'd rather have Mike Wallace than Brandon Marshall the rest of the year?
It's pretty close. I'd think about it.
Bet book?
Get back to me on that one. I will think about it.
Okay.
It's not unthinkable.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry, Anthony. We've kind of been. I've been drowning you out here. I'm trying to get a grasp on this.
Oh, I was gonna make a chowder joke because Crowder's name kind of sounds like clam chowder.
Yeah.
Do you think he's from maybe he's from Manhattan or New England, but we wouldn't know because.
Oh.
I don't know.
You might have to let that one go.
Yeah.
You can get back to us on that when just like when Hiller gets back to us on the bet.
All right.
Let's think about the joke. Dad Dicks at number 2. We've had Dad Dicks at 1 or 2 pretty much every week. Not a lot has changed here. Anybody have anything that is concerning or changed much on the Dad Dicks that we want to talk about?
I'll say that his quarterback situation is bad, and his wide receiving core with Decker out and Macklin not doing much because the Chiefs suck is not good either.
Right.
And I fear that what's going to happen is that Danny Grimes is going to flip a guy like, say, Will Fuller for Tom Brady, and then his team will be very scared.
I wish. He's not offering me that. We've had extensive talks. You're insider reporting. I'm not getting no Will Fuller off of Danny.
Yeah, but see, I think that he can afford giving out a $1 flyer that seems that I think it's a sell high candidate right now. I mean, Will Fuller's a talented dude for sure, but I think it's super sell high. And if you can lock up a quarterback for the rest of the season and basically guarantee yourself a playoff spot, give up a $1 Will Fuller. There's going to be another one pretty soon.
Who's his wide receiver too if he does that?
He can play Macklin and Decker, or he can play.
See, Decker's out with pretty bad injury right now, right?
Well, they said he's questionable.
Yeah.
But let's say he's not. So then
he's got like a sprained AC joint or something in his shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, notionally, I'll tell you, I'd throw in a receiver. I'd throw in a Sammy Coates or a Brian Quick or something like that. I think his team would be. That's not the selling point. I'm just saying his team would be better off with a better quarterback than it would be at a marginal improvement at wide receiver.
You didn't say Brian Quick was on the table. That changes everything.
Brian Quick recently acquired from someplace.
So this is how the trade would go
the guy
down.
you just picked up today?
Correct.
You throw in Brian Quick, and then Dad Dicks immediately drops him, and then rolls on with just Tom Brady. But look, here's the thing. We all
pick up Brian Quick again.
So
everything comes up Hiller.
It's like Brian Quick didn't matter at all. Weird.
I
Well, I don't know. It depends on if you believe in Tajayi Sharp or not. I mean, 17 points is pretty bad. This is Marcus Mariota going to ever come around? And obviously he thinks that he will, but there's nothing to suggest that this guy should be on a fantasy team thus far.
It's an upside pick. It's his fifth wide receiver. He's
Well,
not depending
now
on
Brian
him
Cook can be his
whatsoever.
upside pick.
Larry Fitzgerald just scored another touchdown.
Yeah!
Long one.
Sweet.
Wow. Drew Stanton to the waivers.
Chalk up a dynasty win.
No, we talked about at the draft. You can have these upside guys, and we can move on from this team. But Tajay Sharp is one of those upside guys you can have on your roster. It's a roster spot he doesn't need to worry about right now because he's so stacked everywhere else that he can afford to have a guy like this sitting there just in case he does break out or the Titans do figure out how to use him. So that's fine.
All I'm saying is that the difference between Tom Brady and who he has at quarterback is going to be greater than the difference between Will Fuller and number 2 wide receiver, whoever it would be.
Yeah, and that's the point. If QB points weren't so inflated, right? When you add a 35-point quarterback a week, it basically negates a whole spot. So the delta in points from losing Will Fuller is like halved or less than the delta in points of gaining Tom Brady.
Right.
That's why we have to seriously take a look at this QB scoring, because picking up Tom Brady boosts your team way more than losing Will Fuller. And Will Fuller is almost like an untradeable rookie at $1. So that's a problem. The end.
Okay. Number 1. He said it well. I can't really add to it. Number 1.
I just liked your response.
Sex Cannons is our number 1 team, or Kangaroo Court, or whatever the heck they want to be called.
Sex Cannons.
Brian Connery, whatever. I had him moved down to 5 last week, and he's back up to 1
stupid.
in my rankings this week. He kind of had a bounce back, a lot due to Julio Jones's blow up, but also because
300 yards.
Because I moved Kyle Rudolph up in my rankings. I moved his tight end ranking up quite a bit because Kyle Rudolph every week looks more and more legit with that Sam Bradford offense. So I think I had him at either 11 or 12 at tight end, and now I've got him at 4. I really moved Kyle Rudolph up a lot because he's getting a lot of targets and he's getting a lot of red zone looks. And I don't know that there's many more tight ends that I'd rather have right now than him. So, Hillers, any thoughts on Evan's team here?
No.
Okay. Anthony?
I know, it would be great just to not say anything about it.
He's just going to complain about whatever you say anyway. So.
Yeah, Evan is in love with Kyle Rudolph. Remember when he first emerged, Evan was all about that dude.
Almost
and when Evan was all about him,
Tyler
Kyle
Eifert.
Rudolph was awesome. And then when Evan basically gave him up, he went on this slump. And lo and behold, now Kyle Rudolph is back, baby. And whose team is he on? Is Evans again.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It sucks.
You're a fair weather friend to Kyle Rudolph, Evan. You should think about your relationship.
Well, I just think that the fact that Evan has him on his team somehow made Kyle Rudolph a better player. There's something there.
Some kind of karma. Made a deal with the fantasy devil.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, good team. That's really the reason I moved him up quite a bit. So.
I don't know why, but I really like William Jefferson Snead. Ever since the draft, I've had this unnatural, he's going to be amazing feeling about Willie Snead. And it's fine. 36 is quite good, but still I feel like, I got to find a way to get that Willie Snead.
So beyond the 36 points that he scored this year, he was good last year too, and he's been a little dinged up this year, but when he's played, he's been good. And Anthony, I know you're a believer in him, and I
did invent him. I invented him last year.
You did,
which you guys keep forgetting.
I didn't forget that. I just said, Anthony, I know you're a big fan of him because I remembered that.
He directly referenced that.
I directly asked you the question because of that.
Yeah. My relationship with Willie Snead is much like you ever see Weird Science?
You created him to be a sexy robot for your pleasure?
Yeah. He didn't come out very sexy, though. Ugly as sin. But hell of a... But he's a nice guy.
You're a big scientist.
Is there anybody
hell of a good cook.
Is there anybody more appropriately named in the NFL than that guy, Willie Snead? I mean, come on.
I can't refer to him that way anymore.
Do you remember the game
Jefferson
Snood?
Snood?
The third, mentally.
I don't know, Hillers. Do you remember the game Snood?
Oh, I was maybe the best player in the universe at Snood. Constant day in day out practice.
We should reinvent it and we call it Sneed, and all the faces can be various Willie Sneed faces.
Willie Sneed, different haircuts.
So Hiller's and I were roommates in college, all right? So Snood we had a network drive where people would post games, and they would post Snood up there. But every so often, somebody would go up there and delete it, and it would delete the high score, right? So Hillers would get up there, get on the high score, and like 10 minutes later, he'd check, and he would lose the high score in the game because somebody deleted it. And it didn't matter what was going on in college. If he had class in 5 minutes or anything, he's like, well, not going to class today. I got to get back on top of the Snood board that's going to be deleted in 5 minutes anyway. Like, it was ridiculous.
Whoever kept deleting it, they know who their daddy was. It was me.
That is
going right back up. It's not a fluke, Phantom Deleter.
That's pretty pathetic.
It was anytime I heard the mouse just clicking, click, 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 click. There's Hitler shooting Snood again. So
we used to play in our dorms Diablo 2, and that's a very click-heavy game, and like. It could be like a Sunday afternoon in the all-male tech school dorms, and it's just furious mouse clicking up and down the hall, like it's like 1,000 clicks per second, and the spells being cast left and right. It was incredible.
All right, well, that's gonna do it. Let's get out of here on that. This one went a little longer. We're gonna, eventually we'll speed these things up, but yeah, for Hillers, for Anthony. This is Merrill saying we will talk to you guys later.